Often when people talk about self-improvement, they want to be on self-improvement. It is just instantiated by a superficial arts. It's not really something that is deep. It is not something that is actually tied or rooted in their identity or their yearning for something that is actually teleologically valid. It is more so just superficial urges. Money, power. You want the money, you want the supercars, you want the house, you want to fuck that bitch, right? But what happens when you get it? What happens when you get it is the fundamental question. And how do you even achieve it is also another fundamental question. And while the answer to the first one is what is aided by attaining the status, the money, the power, is a lack of fulfillment. Because if all of your goals are superficial, it means that they're not actually grounded in what you ought to do in life. It is not reinforced by a philosophical ought, a philosophical maxim or obligation that you have to fulfill in your life. It's more so things that you just want to do because you enjoy them. It gives you superficial pleasure, right? And how is this alleviated? Well, why is this alleviated? Why should it be alleviated? It should be alleviated because the consequences of this are not good. Spending money on supercars, buying houses, fucking bitches, it's only going to be fun for so long because then is going to be a void. It's going to be a void of fulfillment because it doesn't serve any teleological purpose. It doesn't serve any teleological purpose, meaning that you are not actually going to enjoy these things in life because they are not what reality wants of you. And this is the fundamental problem and misconception that people have of how they operate within the world. It's just, I need to do this, I need to do that because I want to, because I want to make money, I want to live in a house and whatnot. They don't think of themselves as a medium. They don't think of themselves as a vehicle that God uses or a vehicle that reality uses to accomplish its goals. Reality's goals is not for you to buy a fucking supercar. That's not what reality is about. And you're a part of reality. Reality works in a very sophisticated way. It's a language. It works in a linguistic way. And reality's goal is to maximize that which creates existence. And in a human sector, in a human facet, this means family. This means reproduction. And in any shape, way, or form, it is ultimately referential to this foundational building block of society. Society is not built by men, as in opposition to people like Andrew Tate would like to say. It's not built by all these men that want to fuck bitches and pimp them, right? Society was always built by families, always will be. Without family, it deteriorates into a void. And you see this in the United States now, and you saw this in the collapse of Rome. And, well, what is family? Why is family something that you ought to do? Because I'm not even talking about you being in a lack of fulfillment and joy after doing these things. I'm talking about a moral obligation that you have. That if you don't abide by it is not just shallow, it is anti-teleological. It's incoherent. It does not make sense. It's illogical. And that's because reality's whole point is to exist. It's to further maximize existence. That's what reality is. All of that which exists. And so, you being something that is real, something, an agent, an existent entity that serves a purpose, that serves a function to reality. Your function is to maximize existence. You maximize existence through family. And this is of utility of not just to society, but it is of utility to you because you're supposed to maintain an identity. The whole reason you do things in life, people tell you to do what you love, do what you love. The reason for that being is because that is actually the purpose of reality. That is the purpose, is self-identification, to distinguish yourself from other people and serve a function in unison with other people to create a society that maximizes and promotes and propagates existence. So, you can do these superficial things. Oh, maybe if I do looks maxing, then maybe then I'm gonna get my dick sucked. No, no, it doesn't work like that. You have to maximize for a good goal, a teleology, which accounts for the actual state of the reality within which you operate. And that's a conflict. That's a war. You don't exist within this individualistic society, because that doesn't exist. A society that is individualistic is not a society. It's not a society. And so you exist within a fabric of communion of people, and you want to do something because it represents your deepest myth. Your deepest myth of who you are that has been ingrained in your identity since childhood is going to be that which you ought to maximize within society. So long as it maximizes existence. I was like, some fucking retard is gonna say, "Oh, what if I wanna kill people?" Shut the fuck up, bitch. You don't wanna kill anybody. You're a good person. You're an agent of God. And so that's what family's for. You can have self-improvement. You can have this notion of self-improvement, but it is not going to be exterior to anything that is superficial. It's not going to give deep meaning into your myth, into your identity. It's not going to build your identity and distinguish you from other people. You want to talk about NPCs? You know what NPCs are? People that just follow what they're told, not just by society, but follow what they're told by their urges. They're guided by urges, intuition, false intuition, that purports itself to be a reflection of something that you ought to do in reality. And what is the true reflection of what you ought to do within reality? Well, that's distinguish yourself by doing something honorable. Fight. You ought fight against a system which minimizes that. It is actively minimizing the capacity for other people to do that, for the capacity for other people to to build families. And that is happening all over the world, considering the birth rate. Don't fuck bitches, no parties. That's what got us in a mess in the first place. If you want to understand the true nature of reality, you need to read the CTMU. It's a cognitive theoretic model of the universe. It's a metaphysical theory of everything. Often people tell you to, look into Islam, as Andrew Tate would say, or, Christianity. But none of these religions are actually metaphysically coherent without a metaphysical theory, which allows for all of them to be interpreted coherently. And the CTMU is exactly that. It is a metaphysical theory of everything that explains the basis of reality, where it came from, why it exists. People talk about, God exists, God is the source of everything. Okay, well, why does God exist? That's something that the CTMU explains thoroughly. It explains the source of reality, the nature of reality, why reality exists, how reality generates itself, and what you ought to do within it. And where currently, the real self-improvement process is the deviation from what is happening right now, which is the parasitic divergence. It is a group of people that have a monopoly on the state of the world, and it minimizes humans' ability to maximize existence. That's what they minimize. That's why the birth rate's going down. And if you want to learn more about the CTMU, join Compatriots Academy, wherein we, it's not a fucking expensive course or anything. We teach you about the CTMU amongst experts that are, experts at the CTMU, amongst Chris Langan himself, who's the author of the CTMU. And self-improvement is not superficial. Self-improvement is not supposed to be superficial. It's supposed to be an unraveling of the deepest myth that you have as a human distinct identity, as a endomorphic image of God that is supposed to maximize God's wants, God's will. You've inherited it. You've inherited God's will, and you've borrowed from God's free will, and to do this superficial, immoral process of self-improvement is to spit in the face of God. Hope you guys enjoyed Drunken Patriots Academy. Don't be a bitch.